Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Unbuttoned podcast. Today we have a guest on our show who we have been dying to record with. Her name is Olivia Rancour, and we have talked on this podcast about legal things from cases to anything here and there in between, hypotheticals, maybe things we've done, haven't done.
Lauren's low-key obsessed with all things criminal justice.
I'm obsessed with two things in this world, and it's the military and jail.
Okay, military's throwing me. I didn't realize.
I get real fucked up on a military show.
Okay.
I have been watching. I love it. I love anything military related. I love any fact. I'll take a tour anywhere we go.
I think it's
We're going to Hawaii for a
awesome.
market, and I texted Elizabeth. I'm like, if you think we're laying out in the sun, we're going to Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Like, I am sickly obsessed. My husband's brother was in the Navy, and they couldn't find me for like an hour, and he's like, where have you been? And I was down watching the Navy SEALs train. I'm like, walk away.
That's amazing.
I mean,
love
it's
that.
so fascinating to me. Anyways, but that in jail, I've watched every jail show that there possibly is out there. I've watched it. I've researched it. I love it. But okay, more about Olivia. She has a criminal defense background, and her background is in psychology. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what JD MBA means, but it sounds really smart. And she has a passion for protecting people when everything's on the line. She started out in family law, but made the move to criminal defense. Love that. And has never looked back. And you specialize in like some high profile cases, from everything from like murder to rape, and some like low profile cases. So you've kind of seen it all.
For sure. Yeah.
Which is amazing. But she has recently opened her own firm. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, kind of similar to you guys. I don't know. I've kind of listened to about how you decided to start Coco.
Yeah.
My partner, Paul Scarsella, he has been at this for years. He's phenomenal. He's taught me like everything I know. So I was poked him. I was like,
Yeah.
why don't you start your own firm? Like you know everything. You are phenomenal at what you do.
Yeah.
You should have something. So kind of was poking at him to start his own thing. And then he just did it on a whim one day. I feel like it's something you kind of have to just
Totally.
blindly just dive in.
Because if you know too much, you're not going to dive in.
Yeah. If you just keep doing it or keep preparing and like thinking about it, you're never going to make that jump.
Right.
So on a whim one day he did it and I was like, well, shit.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So I let him like kind of feel the waters out, and then a few months, well, maybe like a year, less than a year after him, I just decided to make the jump with him.
That's amazing.
And it's been great. Criminal is kind of a personal area where people hire you because of you.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's different from other areas of law like corporate where they're hiring the firm.
Right. That makes
Criminal
sense.
is more personalized where they're looking at like who they want to stand next to them.
Yeah.
So it made sense. I think a lot of criminal defense attorneys are on their own.
Yeah.
There's not a ton that have this. It's not like a big firm statewide kind of thing. It's
Right.
mostly like solos or partnerships. So
Okay, that makes sense because I don't know that I realized that.
Yeah.
But when people seek you out, do they often say that they like found you from a past case? They found you online? Like, how do you feel like most people are like, oh, I found you because?
yeah, it's Paul.
Okay.
Because he's been doing it for years. He's phenomenal. And a lot of it is word of mouth and
of
referral
mouth.
based.
Okay.
Or a friend of a friend kind of thing.
Okay.
So I've been lucky because I can kind of ride off of his name
Which is
while I'm
amazing.
building my
Yeah.
base. Yeah.
And Chris
So,
trusts you, you know.
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He probably shouldn't, but he does.
Yeah.
So we joke about that a lot.
Olivia's also a mama of 2, right?
Yep. 2 boys.
Yep. She's 5 months postpartum.
Yes.
And just getting back to work, she came in and was like, I still feel like I have postpartum brain. So she
Yeah,
relates
I don't
to
know
the
what you guys are getting
motherhood
into.
journey just as much as we do. But we were so excited to pick her brain and also just love that you're also a mama entrepreneur. And we can relate to so many of the same, the balance struggle, the kids struggle. Yeah.
On the podcast because most of the people that listen are like moms, and we just think it's so cool when there's like a mom doing something. It's like just like we were saying the other day, we're like, your life doesn't end because you have kids. It's still
Right.
cool to do something and like something that you're passionate about. So
Yes. I love that.
we love it. We love that you're doing this. Okay, so let's just dive right in because when I tell you we've got 5 pages of questions,
Amazing. Great. Let's get at it.
I'm like, we're going to set a timer because she would literally talk to you about this shit for like
multiple.
Yeah,
we
it's a
can
problem.
I've blocked my whole calendar off.
We were
so
dying
let's go.
yesterday too. I'm like, all right, you guys, let's come up with some questions. Elizabeth's like, I think you got enough.
She opened like the Google Doc
if
and
we don't
I'm
have
like
enough to talk
scrolling.
about?
I'm like, I think we're good.
That's funny because I actually listened to your podcast.
Yeah.
And I didn't whip it out, but I wrote notes down
Oh
about
my
like what
God,
you guys
I
were
love
talking
that.
about. But I was like, I'll let you just
Yeah,
take the reins here.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's start with one that this would be a good starter. I know I have it somewhere in here, but we'll start with this because we were just talking before we started. Is a lawyer similar to like how a doctor or therapist like has a certain level of like, I have to tell that because you told me that, and or like confidentiality even after the case is closed where you can't talk about certain things? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so there's the lawyer-client privilege. So anything that I talk about with my clients is confidential.
Okay.
And that's not something I talk about before, during, or after the case.
Got it.
There are certain things that, you know, like mandated reporters that I'd be calling the ethics line for. Like,
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than like doctors or psychologists.
Yeah.
But if there's like a crime about to be committed or something like that,
Okay.
I could potentially disclose that.
Okay.
But other than that, it's pretty.
That's what we're wondering because I was
lip-sealed,
like, it
yeah.
feels like it has to be lip sealed, or else I'm like, how could you like? If I committed some like horrible crime, I'd have to be able to trust the lawyer that like,
Right.
if I'm gonna
Right.
tell you this so you can defend me, like I need to know that you're not gonna like turn on me.
Right. Correct. Yeah. So the client has to feel comfortable, and then for me to adequately defend somebody, I typically need to know. Well, I don't
That's-
always know if the person.
Okay,
did the
that's one of my
crime.
questions.
So I
I'm
figured
like-
that was one of your questions. I knew that was coming, but
Yeah.
I need to know a lot.
Yeah.
So that I know what's going to come at me. I hate to be surprised in the courtroom. I tell my clients that all the time.
And it's like if you're paying me to defend you, don't surprise me because then I can't
No.
help you.
And it happens, and then you're
Oh,
standing
I'm
there in court, and I'm like,
sure. You're like biting your tongue. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
yeah.
here we
But
go.
it happens. But
And I would just want to turn around and be like, "Ugh, why would you do this to me? That would piss me off.
we've had those moments.
Okay, so we're gonna start with just like general questions, and then we have. Hold on, let me flip my pages. A little, is this illegal? Asking for a friend, and then we do have a section on ethics because I'm really curious about that part, and I feel like it's part of the reason why, like, I don't know if I could do the job.
I'm glad you're going to ask that because that's
Yeah.
one of the things I was going to maybe bring up.
Yeah, I just
Right,
think
'cause-
it's like so intriguing because, yeah, we'll get there because that's like one of my main things. Okay, random, but can you actually plead the fifth in real life and it works? Can you really say like I plead the fifth? I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, and actually, yes. So
And
Paul
should
was
you?
just- yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we joke. Everyone has the right to remain silent, but no one knows how to use it.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to talk.
Right.
Like, so, and most people, even law enforcement, if they are talking to you, they're going to make you feel like, well, if you have nothing to hide, why wouldn't you just talk to me?
I feel like
And
it's kind of
everyone-
manipulative.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that, like,
Which is like their
internally,
job, but like
I think I would feel the same way if I was
Right.
being questioned and I'm trained at this. I would still
Totally.
be like, well, I have nothing to hide. Should I just
Right.
talk?
Like, and like it's
Never
such an
talk.
like I feel like that would be such a high pressure, like intimidating like situation where you're like, okay, but if I don't talk, I'm gonna get in trouble.
It looks
And like you
bad.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, I could see that.
Yes. So you
Yeah.
can and should plead the fifth, no matter what.
And
But
that is basically just when you're like, I don't want to answer that.
yeah, or you just need like a lawyer present, or you can buy time by saying, I just want to talk to a lawyer before I talk to you
Okay,
guys.
yeah.
does that make you look more guilty?
I don't know. Does it? Because
I don't know because
yeah.
sometimes
Yes.
I feel like I'm like, why do you need a lawyer? But then other times I'm
Exactly.
like, but you probably should because they're gonna maybe spin your words.
I think it's human nature to think that it's going to make you look guilty, and we
Yeah.
talk about this all the time with our juries.
Yeah.
So yes, it makes you look more guilty, but so does talking, and then you saying the wrong thing, and then they trip you
And then
up
they're like,
for
well,
it.
you said that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do feel like that's kind of like
So you're kind of
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
right.
That makes sense though. I didn't write this down, but I want to circle back when we talk about like actual trials. This is not an actual trial, but have you ever watched Your Honor?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I haven't watched a lot of shows
God.
recently, so I'm like,
This is really
bad.
old, actually.
Okay.
I just recently
I need
watched
to
it
watch
because I
it.
finally got around to watching it. And it's the premise of the show is the dad is a judge, and his son gets in trouble, and he then has to toy with, do I do my ethical duty as a judge, or do I this is my son, and
Yeah.
his like wife has died. It's all the only family he has left. It's really, really good, but really
What's that
heavy
on?
because you're like,
I need to watch it.
I think, is it on Netflix now? Yeah, I think it might be on Netflix now because
I'm
it was
adding
like
that to my
on.
list.
I don't even somewhere a while ago. It's old, but it was really good, and I don't know. I actually didn't finish it because I was like, I don't know if I want to know what he
Too hard.
picks because I feel
no.
like there's the two sides where you're like
Yeah.
the mom in you is like, I will literally do anything for
Yeah.
my kids. Like,
Yeah.
watch out. But then there's the other side where you're like,
There's
I
a
mean,
hard
it's
side of
his
me where I'm
job.
like,
Like, I don't know.
Yep.
But anyways, so I was curious if you had seen that.
No.
Okay. What happens if someone confesses something crazy to you and you have to report it? You kind of touched on this a little bit. You don't have to report it unless it's harming in the
Unless there's
future?
like an immediate danger. And
Okay.
that's something that I would be calling. We have like an ethics line that we can call.
Okay, I don't know if
'cause
I realized that.
Yeah, we have an ethics line, and we'll have like malpractice insurance, and through our malpractice carrier, we have a line that we can call too and kind of talk and make sure that we're
Kind of get that like
following.
gut check.
Yep.
Like, should I, shouldn't I?
Shouldn't I?
Who
It's
works at
mostly
this like ethics line? Is that like lawyers
ethics
who have
attorneys. Yeah, yeah.
ethics?
So they
I didn't realize there's an ethic attorney.
yeah. There's an attorney for everything.
That's literally insane.
But yeah.
So they go to school to be ethics attorneys.
So the hard thing about law school is you don't really go to school to specialize in anything, and we can't really say we specialize.
I didn't realize that
Yeah.
either. I guess I
There's
thought
a
it
lot
was
of
kind of
rules
like a
here.
doctor where you like
Yeah.
go into a field.
No. So you kind of
Okay.
go in and it's general. They're
Okay.
teaching you more how to think.
That makes
I
sense
think
though.
Law school really is the Socratic method. They like cold call you, and I didn't realize it when I was going through it, but it does change how you analyze things, and that's
Yeah, I would
mostly
bet.
what you're doing.
Which is a good point because I feel like when I think about being a lawyer or whatever, I'm like, I don't know if I could think like that or if I could turn my brain, but it makes sense
could.
that that's what school is teaching you to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Quite literally, because I would need to be taught
Oh yeah,
how to do
and
that.
I didn't know what I signed up for when I went to law school, and I was
Yeah.
like, the first couple weeks, I was like, what the heck am
Yeah.
I doing here? Like, I'm not supposed to be here. And then it all works out. Everyone can learn.
Do you have to like learn specific laws and whatnot, or it's like a mix of all that type of stuff?
It's a mix. So you are learning like general law and
Okay.
concepts and stuff, and you do take classes. Like I had it's funny because I haven't watched a lot of podcasts recently or
Yeah.
documentaries, but the reason I wanted to get into criminal law was because I watched a documentary in like high school of
Yeah.
wrongful convictions. And then when I
love
went
those.
to law school, I like shied away from that because I was like, this is too scary. I can't be
Yeah.
responsible for someone's life.
I think that's the
So,
other thing
yeah.
that is really, I feel like, would weigh on me.
Yeah.
Someone's life is in your hands.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who, she was on a jury for a rape case. And I remember saying to her, I'm like a fanatic. I want to be on a jury. And I said to her, I'm like, I'm so jealous. I wish I was on that jury. And she's like, honestly, you don't,
hard.
though. She's like, because if we send him to jail and he didn't do it, we've ruined his life. She's like, if we don't send him to jail and we say he didn't do it, we've no justice for this girl who could have been potentially raped. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, that kind of
It's
makes me
hard.
sick. I'm like, oh, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that in my hands.
Yeah. And that's why I think in some ways being the lawyer is easier because it's not my job to ascertain the truth. It's the jury's job. So I'm there
Okay,
to
that's-
make sure that the state did their job and they've proven every element beyond a reasonable doubt that the evidence,
Okay. Okay,
leads
yeah.
you
See, I guess I
about
didn't
some.
think about it like that.
yeah. But to answer your question,
Yeah,
we
sorry.
don't specialize. We just kind of, you do take like certain classes,
Okay.
but it's basically just general.
So when you take
Until
it's the bar, right?
Yeah.
When you take the bar, it's just like generalized questions. It's not specific
There's
then to what
different
you're.
areas. So there is like con law, criminal law,
Okay.
evidence. So it is that, but you're not really learning. You're learning the generals in the area, and
Okay.
you're not honing in.
And that's
and
more when
actually-
you would actually choose, then you hone in on your kind of like your
Yes,
own time
your
type thing.
Yep.
That's crazy. God, you're like
Yeah.
putting yourself into school again then once you pick
Yeah.
on your
pretty
own.
much. And I just lucked into a person that taught me everything.
Which is a really good way to go now, knowing
Yes.
that. Because,
Yeah.
God, that would be like, I feel like I was floundering if not.
Exactly. Yeah. I
That's
wouldn't have been able to
crazy.
do it without him. So
Okay, that's good to know. So then that kind of changes some of my questions, but my next question was do lawyers really believe everyone deserves a defense? Like, are there people that you're like, okay.
I love this question.
Yeah.
Because it's loaded. I can
It
talk
is
about
totally
this
loaded.
forever. Yes. And one thing I stole from Paul was his saying that everyone counts or nobody counts. So if we just
Actually,
start
a really cool
deciding
way.
like this person deserves a defense and this person doesn't, I feel like we get
more
into a really
opinion-y.
scary area of
Yeah.
society where we've just decided some people matter, some crimes matter,
Yeah.
and other people don't. And then I think we risk,
Then it's not really fair.
and then we risk putting people in prison that don't deserve
Wrongfully
it. So,
or
yeah.
could be there. Okay, that's actually a really good way to look at it. Either everyone deserves it or no one, because how do you decide? Like, is that just, that'd be like personal? And
I
then
think
it
we
kinda
get
takes
into
that.
a scary kind of society.
Yeah.
When we are
But
making this-
leading off that, is there anybody who, like, sometimes maybe they come to you and you're like, this is going to be a hard one to defend because, like, I know either they're wrong and or like, okay,
personal matters, that,
right?
Like,
Like
your personal life. 100%. I've had cases where it's hard for us to have a defense because the evidence is there.
that's what I mean. Like, or some
And,
people
like-
you're like, I'm not really even sure what I'm going to get up there and say.
Yeah, we've had cases like that. A lot of those cases resolve in a plea because
Okay.
the client realizes it, but sometimes they have nothing else to lose.
Okay.
So you do go to trial, and that my job then is to make sure the state has done their job, that they've proven everything.
Yeah.
But then there's also cases where you're just not the right lawyer for that case. Just
Okay.
like you might not be the right juror for.
That was
case.
one of my questions too. Can you turn somebody down
Yes.
saying, "Thank you for like seeking me out, but I personally cannot take this case."
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so you don't have a right to take it because someone asks.
Yeah, I don't have to take anything, which is nice.
Yeah, that is
But-
nice.
I've actually always wondered about that too.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I don't have to take the
Yeah.
case. There's been only one case, I think, in my career that Paul has had that we just like kind of shunned me from because it just wasn't the case for me.
yeah.
It had it. I'm not going to cry, but it was
had too
a
close a
little-
connection.
Yeah, I was a little kid, my son's age, and it was
Yeah.
just terrible.
See, and I
So,
think that I'd be like, I can't do that.
Yeah, and I
because I
couldn't.
feel like I can't rightfully defend this person.
Yeah.
Too much emotion involved and
100%.
too much. Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do my job. I know I'm not going to do my job because
Yeah.
I'm going to just be too connected.
Yeah.
Okay, then that makes sense because we were talking about that. We were saying like, I know for a fact if it like involved like a child in a horrific crime or a sex crime, like I would be absolutely unable. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, everybody deserves a defense. I just couldn't personally be
Yeah,
the defense.
and that's totally fair. And I think it's good to know that always and like stay true to that because that person deserves a defense. And if you can't give them the best defense possible, then you just aren't the
That
lawyer
makes
for them,
sense.
and you need to say that. So.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that is because we were saying that. we're
Yeah.
like, that sucks. So,
I bet.
okay, what's more annoying to a lawyer? A client who Googles everything or a client who knows nothing?
the Googling client, which is funny because I Google everything.
Yeah.
And when it's my own stuff, I'm on Google constantly.
Right.
I have a newborn. I'm always asking Google things. So
The most relatable thing.
Yeah.
A woman with a newborn is attached to the hip to Google.
if you saw my Google search,
Oh, I always
between
say
like
I'm
the
like-
murder questions and
Yes.
the newborn,
Sometimes when I
people
Google
be
stuff, I'm
worried.
like, I hope they never come after me because this is the weirdest thing.
yeah, I would have to answer a lot of questions.
Oh, I'd say, well, I mean, earlier today, we went horseback riding yesterday, and I was literally
That looked awesome.
looking up if you could see a horse's penis.
Amazing.
Because I was like, I don't know if mine was a boy or girl. And then horse penises came up, and I'm like, I got to get off this Google search. This feels wrong.
You're
Gonna
people
be
are
getting
gonna have
some
questions.
creepy ass ads.
I know. That's what I said. I'm like, Google's really, no one wants to look at my Google searches.
But I would rather have if the client Googles but they listen, that's fine.
Okay.
I have had clients that, and granted they were incarcerated at the time, where I've sat down with them for hours going through their lists of like, well, I saw this and I saw this, and I have to be like, well, here's why it applied in that situation and it doesn't apply to the facts here.
Yeah.
But as long as they're open and listening, like their life's on the line, I understand they're going to have a lot of questions. So I'm always happy to answer questions. It's just
As long as
their willingness
they're
to believe
receptive.
and accept
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Something, and then they're like, no, well, I thought you're like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I'm telling you. It's
Yeah.
wrong.
You're like, I went to law school, so.
Yeah. I'm actually a lawyer.
Yeah.
But that leads us to this one.
Okay, yeah. What are the most overused legal phrases in TV shows? Like, are there things that like annoy the crap out of you about like lawyer shows?
That's a good question. Overused legal phrases. I mean, allegedly.
Or like,
I love that word.
allegedly, that's a great word.
I feel like I'm always hearing that. Even on social
But I use
media
it a
now,
lot.
people are like, allegedly, because
Yeah.
like, that's coming to one of my questions, but like, is that because you can get sued for like slander if like you're talking about something else? Is that why people say allegedly?
Yeah, if you're looking at a like news or journalism reporting, I feel like a lot of people do say allegedly because they don't, if you're saying something as fact and it's not, you can run into issues. But other people on social media might just like the word. I like the word, but it is overused.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like objection.
I feel like objection. Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, were you really saying this much in the court? Like objection. I'm like, all right, enough. Let him speak.
So with court shows, they show trials as like really intense and really like heated, objections everywhere. I think a smooth trial is we kind of work those issues out beforehand.
Okay.
And as we try to disrupt the jury as least as possible, because first of all, if you already say something and then there's an objection, the jury heard it. They're told to disregard it, but they already heard it.
Heard
like,
that.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's me nuts. And we're going to get to the like actual cases. But recently I was watching a case, the Karen Reed case, which we'll get to. But she said that the judge said multiple times, like, okay, jury, ignore that. I'm like, ignore that? They just, I wouldn't be able to. I'm like, what do you mean ignore that?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. She's saying like you can't then go back and deliberate and use that as it. But at the same time, I'm like, that's still in your head.
Yeah, and it almost makes you hold on to it more.
Right, 'cause you're like,
you know?
Because it seems important.
Yeah.
Like, that gets me a little bit more. I'm like, okay, well, I'm holding on to that.
Yeah. So we try to work through a lot of those things, and if we anticipate something being an issue, we'll talk parties and judge beforehand.
Okay.
Try to minimize that as much as possible. So objection in the super heated, like ugly trials where it's not how it usually runs. A good trial is a smooth trial.
Okay. Have you had the ugly trials?
We have one right now.
Is it open to the public?
It is.
I want to sit in on a trial so bad. Like, can you just come to the courthouse and like pop in?
Yes. Yeah.
I
And
won't be at work next
I'll
week.
have to give you a heads up when I think there's some good cases going.
Please do. I'm not even joking.
This is her dream.
It's my dream. I'm so interested in it, and I just like love to sit there and just soak up the information. We got called to court. Stupid little court in Marysville. Yeah, I mean, but I was living and breathing for it.
I did.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
loved it.
I was living and breathing for it. Melissa was like, "You think we can get out of it?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. This is
your
our
duty.
civil right and duty."
I'm like 8 a.m. for the third time that this guy hasn't showed up. I'm
and
over it.
you're hurrying up and waiting. You're just sitting there.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't get a
Of course,
lot.
he was last. I kind of loved that because I was like,
got to hear everything.
"Let's hear it all." But it was like, and I don't know if this is like this. Maybe I just thought it was because it was like that little like city court, whatever. But we sat and like listened to all of them. But are there cases where like it's just that case?
Yeah.
Like, is it not always that? Oh, it's because it was a bench trial, right? Is that the difference?
It depends on the day, and it honestly depends on the court. So
Okay.
Marysville is a little bit different. It's smaller, obviously.
Right.
And you were probably in like misdemeanor world. Or,
Yes,
Yep.
we were.
So it's different from the common pleas. Franklin County is where I work mostly, and they will set. There's 17 judges in common pleas. They'll set like 50 cases for 9 a.m. In front of each judge. So everything's set at once.
That's
and you're
crazy.
kind of just running from courtroom to courtroom. But they don't.
Oh,
go
you're like
through-
bopping back and forth.
bopping back and forth. It's fun.
Oh, I did
It's
not
crazy.
think that would be the case.
Yeah. That's Franklin County. That Franklin County is like its own little beast.
Yeah.
It's the busiest county
That's
in the
insane.
state. So
And to think that there's 50 a day, I'm like,
in front of like each judge, I don't know if there's 50, but
but
like
still, like that's
there's a lot.
a high number.
There's a lot. But then there's smaller counties like Delaware, Marion,
Yeah.
Marysville, where they will set them for like 9:30, and you're just rolling through.
Yeah.
And you will sit through a hearing for each case.
Yes.
So it's different everywhere.
And we even found ourselves when we were listening to some of the cases. I'm like, oh, I gotta feel bad for them. And then at the end, we were like, oh my God, like that was so hard. I could never because I was like, there was one woman who was like a mom and stuff. And we were like, oh God, she's just trying her best. But then you're like, why didn't you? I don't know.
It's hard because you
tricky.
feel for the person, but then you're also like, why did you do it this way? Or like, why did you
Yeah.
just...
Then the next person came up. I'm like, well, you didn't learn your lesson the first 3 times. Okay.
Yeah. It's
How many times
harder
are we gonna
to
give
feel
it to
bad.
you?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that wasn't nice. But yeah. But anyways, where was I going with it? We went to court. I don't even know.
There before that, we were talking about legal phrases in TV shows.
Objection thing. Because I was going to ask this question about when we went to court. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a small little courtroom. We were last, so there really wasn't anyone in there. But we got up, which we weren't allowed in at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I got up as a witness, and they asked me to like state my name, my address, and stuff to verify it. And now looking back, I'm like, I felt so icky about it because I'm like, why would I say my address where I live with my children in this public courtroom where somebody's getting convicted?
Yeah.
I'm like, that felt so icky, but I'm like, could I have said I don't feel comfortable doing that? Like,
Yeah, that's something you could have brought up to the attorney beforehand. We usually do. So I actually usually have people state their name, spell their last name for the record.
yeah, I
and
did do
then
that part.
I don't always.
Which I'm
do
like, I guess
addresses,
my address is like
but
public record.
Yeah,
they could look it up if they wanted it.
kind of.
Just
but
saying it out
there's no
loud, I was like,
transcript-
ooh.
unless there's an appeal, they're not writing the transcript out. So like,
Okay.
someone's not.
Okay.
They would have to go searching for it.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel better
because
because I've been thinking about it since. I'm like,
Oh no, I hate that.
God, I'm like, my children live there. Why would you ask me to say that in front of this whole court?
It's just to make sure that you are you. But
Yeah. But also, they told Elizabeth she was done and she could leave. I thought that's what they said to me. We get in the car, we start
Oh,
driving
no,
away.
did they call you?
Well, thank God they didn't because I was like, they said like, all right, we'll call you if we need you again. So
Yeah.
I thought that meant they'd call us on the phone because we'd already been there 3 times.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, they told me I'm done and I don't have to do anything more. And I'm like, shit. So then I called the court. I was like, I just left. Am I going to be like arrested?
Amazing.
I'm freaking out. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're probably.
I was worthless.
Apparently you were worthless.
You didn't give him.
Yeah,
what they
I was
wanted,
like,
don't know.
oh my God. She's like, hold on, let me go in and check. And then she came back to the phone. She's like, all right, they ended, so you're good. I'm like, Jesus Lord, I just had a heart
panic.
attack. I'm like, I wasn't supposed to leave that courtroom. Here I am, drifting on home, getting a Diet Coke.
arrested.
I know. I was kind of like, oh my God.
That's hilarious.
That was crazy. But that's the only time that I have been like called to a court that's like, I want to go to jury duty.
It's actually pretty wild that you've been called and they had you. You know, you were actually on the stand.
Oh, I was
'Cause
ready.
that's
I was
amazing.
preparing
Yeah.
for my testifying. Honestly, I didn't think we would be. At first, he came in
Yeah.
and like, what was that, subpoenaed us? Well, what was that called? That old guy who came subpoenaed us, right? Sir.
Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth opened the door in her bathing suit, a 2-piece, and this old
I
man walks up to
died.
serve
I
her,
love
and I'm
that.
like, oh my God.
What's
She called
happening?
me. She's like, heads up, he's probably coming to your house. I just answered the phone in a bathing suit. I'm like,
Amazing.
Jesus
I want you
Christ.
on one of my cases.
I literally like ignored the doorbell.
I would,
because like
'cause
I was
I'm busy.
just home with the kids, and I like
I rarely
was
answer
like,
my door.
it's probably I did. I was like, and I couldn't see them, but I heard the doorbell, and I was like, oh, it's probably just like Amazon because they'll like ring the doorbell
Yep.
and just leave it, and then it rang again. And then it rang again. And I was like, all right, I guess I should go see who this is. And I walk up there and he's like in a suit. And I'm literally in my bathing suit. And honestly, I had like, it had been a few weeks. So I kind of like forgot about.
When you called me saying that, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. And I like was just really confused. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do to get myself in trouble? Did I not file my
there's so many things where I'd
taxes
be
or
like,
something?
what am I going for? It's
I
the
know.
business taxes.
Yes.
And she started the phone call with, hey, someone's coming into your house. They subpoena me for court. And I'm like, for what? And why am I involved? I'm like, don't bring me into this.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And then it clicked because I like read the guy's name and I was like, oh, that's right. But immediately I was like, shit, what did I do?
After he rang to court, we need to be like looking legal.
You did.
I love it. And her husband was making fun of us. And he's like, there's not gonna be a courtroom. I took a picture. I'm like, we
Totally
are in
was.
the courtroom.
There was a courtroom. Surprise.
I was in my glory, honestly.
I
But
love it.
if there was one law that you could change overnight, what would it be? Like if there's one that you're like, this is so stupid.
The Reagan Tokes sentencing. So it's indefinite sentencing. So me and probably a lot of criminal defense attorneys, some even prosecutors, I think it's unconstitutional because you're sending someone and it's confusing. Like all of us sit there and we're doing this math and we're like, what are they getting sentenced to?
Give me the high level gist of it. That was
So-
the girl in the short north,
Yeah.
right?
So it
Yeah, I don't
happened
think I heard about
after
this one.
I'm sure you probably
you did. You did
for sure.
Yeah.
So Reagan Tokes was killed by someone. She was taken. I don't remember the exact details of it. Taken from like, was it Bodega?
I think it was Bodega
Bodega?
in the Short North.
Yep.
And if you're unfamiliar with that, it's
Yeah.
like downtown Columbus area, where like, I remember it hit my mom so hard
Aw.
because like when it happened, I think both my younger sisters were maybe at Ohio State or maybe
Yeah,
just
scary.
Emily, but like that's like where we would go out
Mhm.
and stuff. And it
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, it hit so close
So
to
it
home,
didn't
but
just
she was like
happen.
leaving work maybe.
She was leaving work.
late.
Got
Yeah.
taken, abducted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't
It'll be
hear
your
about
next-
this.
I'm going down
Rabbit
Yeah, I'm
hole.
sure you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that case, they enacted a law that I don't want to get too technical, and it's like very confusing.
Yeah.
It's confusing to us.
Yeah.
We do it every day. It's indefinite sentencing where they get sentenced to a period of like between X and X years, and like based on behavior, the parole board can go back and
Lessen it or
add more. So you're basically someone outside of the judiciary is deciding you get more time. I think it's unconstitutional. It's been upheld.
who's deciding that?
Yeah, so usually the judge is deciding your sentence. Reagan-Tokes indefinite sentencing is it's just different.
Like the person who committed the crime is going to jail indefinitely, or what do you mean?
For an indefinite, sentence. So they're
So it
either
could be 2
going,
days or 20 years.
yeah, and it's usually like a range of years. Like we'll just, for simplicity purposes, we'll say between like 5 to 10 years, and then you can hit the max part of that sentence if they decide you're not,
So why did they enact this law about like? So the person who's going really has no idea how long they're going for. Is that?
Yeah, I mean,
kind of
there's a time frame, and it's usually it's not that huge of a time frame, but so they know that they're going. It's usually a while.
Yeah.
But I think that they did it so that if someone wasn't, and I don't know this, so don't quote me. It's been a while since I looked at it because I hate it. I think the intent behind it was that if someone's not ready to be released, they can add more time.
Okay. Like they feel like they're maybe not as rehabilitated as they should be, or XYZ.
I think. Don't quote me.
Yeah.
I think the intent behind it, like most things, was good, but I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
And it's
have to
very
be like
confusing.
voted into law. Like, how did that come
So-
about? Where like a majority of people thought that was the right thing to do.
Well, that's like how a lot of laws come into play. Is they look good on paper and they sound good, and people are like, well, yeah, why wouldn't we want someone like a violent offender to be let out when they could have more time or they need more time?
Yeah.
It looks good on paper, and then in practice, it's not good.
Yeah,
I think borderline unconstitutional because they don't know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
like, I mean,
So in practice, things don't always play out as the intent was, and that's I
Okay.
think the one that I would probably say that we need to revise this or figure out a better way.
okay, like almost feels kind of loopholey where people are using it in the wrong way.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I think we need to go through the right systems to make sure people are getting the amount of time that they need.
Yeah.
To
They
serve.
found that person if they enacted
they
a law
did.
because of them.
Yep, they found him. He
Okay.
was. I'm trying to remember when that case was, but I know
Gosh,
who
I
his
feel
defense
it
attorneys
wasn't
were.
that long ago.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
How would I have missed this? Was I in the midst of another trial?
I know. I
You might
cannot
have
believe you didn't hear. I mean, it was
just
a
want everyone-
I
huge
think if
case.
you Google it, you might.
Oh, I'm
it
sure.
might
Yeah, it might.
trigger some memories for you.
I can't believe it's not already triggering though. Like,
Yeah,
didn't he like rape and kill her?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Like literally
exactly.
just innocently, like
was
she was
bad.
leaving work, and it could have been like any of us. That's
Yeah.
like why my mom was like, and then her poor parents were all over the place, like
Yeah.
you know, advocating for
So
her.
I'm not saying that guy doesn't deserve
right,
to
right,
stay.
right.
Yeah, I'm just the way that we do it maybe needs to be
Yes,
a little bit more clear.
Yes.
That's fair. I was gonna say I was wrapped up and I thought about the case, but it wouldn't have been the same time. When I was in college, I literally went to Ugly Tuna for my 21st birthday because I wanted to literally just study the
Yes.
fucking area
Amazing.
and see how he disappeared. And I
Yeah.
still to this day
That
like listen
blows
to
my mind.
podcasts and stuff because I'm like, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
How is there not a
don't get it.
shred of evidence, not a shred of somebody
Yeah.
who saw him? No, you see on that camera every other
Yes.
person you accounted
Yeah.
head by head leaving.
And he just like
Did he
disappears.
vanish into thin air?
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
If you guys don't know what
And
we're
especially
talking about, look
these
this
days.
up. It was a guy that literally disappeared from a bar right in our like college campus area at Ohio State. I know it's not there
Sad.
anymore. It was
I
like
hate
the
when
best.
I hate when they change things.
What was his name? I'm trying to remember. Brian. If you go on true crime and search, like if you just search like true crime, ugly tuna,
right up.
disappearance.
Yep.
Like in medical school, had a girlfriend. They were supposed to like go on a trip and get engaged. Where they were engaged, they were leaving for a trip a few days later. She couldn't get a hold of him. He's never been seen, heard from again. Some people claim they like saw him in the Bahamas, or you know, there's always speculation. People who were could just be saying stuff. But anyways, there's been no like real like.
It is the most
Case
wild
blows my mind.
story. Yeah.
That's another question though. How old can a case be that you are like we can't try that anymore, or like can you try anything?
So for murder, there's no statute. So
Okay.
you can try basically anything if you have the evidence and you want to move forward. It depends on the area what the statute is. So, but for murder, there's none.
Interesting. Good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay, good. But then I'm thinking, like, where did they draw the line of, like, okay, maybe this, like, they're going to try this 85-year-old man for a murder he committed when he was 16. I'm like, what's that doing?
Yeah, that's
Walk
interesting.
the streets for how many years, and you're going to just, we're going to pay for you to croak in 5 years in jail?
Kind of. I still feel like if he murdered somebody, he should pay for it.
He should have been paying for it since he was 16.
I know, but lock his ass up.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. It gets to a point then it's like where people would have maybe the thought of, like, now you're just wasting my taxpayer dollars in there for 5 years because you didn't serve your whole life, and now you're just.
And now,
not if he murdered your kid, though.
He'd been locked up at 16 because I would have been coming for him. I'm telling you, I would be stopping at nothing if he murdered my child.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, though.
But yeah, no, I just was curious because I'm like, people have that, like, I've also changed my thought process about jail over watching many, like, documentaries and this and that. At first, when I started on this obsession, I was, I'm not going to lie, annoyed. Like, I'd see them, like, watching TV and shit. I'm like, what the fuck are we watching TV for? You've committed, you're in here watching TV. I'm like, who knows if you even had a TV at your house? This is lap of luxury.
That sounds like the Lauren I was expecting.
Yeah, and I'm like, yes. Joke. I'm like, TV, like.
But listening to you on the previous podcast, I like the little change, the turnaround you had.
I've made
I see some heart in there.
Yeah, I have. The more I have, like, learned about it and whatnot, I'm like, I think what changed my mind more so though was where I changed is I watched this one. It's called Girls Behind Bars, and it's like teenage girls. Girls Incarcerated. Thank you, Girls Incarcerated, because I made Elizabeth watch it. Yeah. And I was kind of honestly sick to my stomach because I was like, these girls don't know any different. This is literally how they were raised. It's how they survive. I'm like, it's not like it's all they've ever seen. And I just felt so bad because I'm like, this is just the cycle they've watched their parents go through. They're going through. Their kids are going to go through. They don't know any different. They have no way out.
No one's taught them anything else.
Which, like, doesn't make it right. Don't get me wrong. Like, they shouldn't have committed these crimes. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, like, it does give you a little bit more empathy when you hear a backstory to say, God, how do we then fix it? Which I don't know that there is a fix because it's also that same, like, thought process. If we didn't have, like, for lack of better terms, like, high class, middle class, low class. So we're like, you know, different socioeconomic rungs, and everybody was the same. It wouldn't work.
Right.
So
it is sad. I do love on that show though. I feel like they do a really good job of trying to genuinely like shape these girls and like guide them and teach them. And I like loved that aspect of it because I completely agree. It's like, these poor kids, like, they literally have no guidance in life and they're just kids. Like, they're babies. Right.
They really
I
stood
know.
no chance.
How do you blame them? You know?
I think that maybe turned my mindset a little bit more to the point where I was like, I mean, for some people, jail is like, this is
it's
like a shelter. It's life. It's normal.
Yeah. It's also I've had some clients where it's like all they know. So it's
like if that's all you knew, it's comfortable. Right. Yeah. But then I get, you know, some people and I'm like, turn the TV off for them.
Yeah, they don't deserve this.
In like secluded jail cell. You're not watching TV.
Get that pillow out from under his head.
Like, take that. That's contraband. I'm like pissed.
There's the Lauren I know.
Yeah, so I do feel like I have both sides too still. Because some of these I watch and like they'll start out, they'll show the person's face, they'll tell their crimes, and then they'll go into their cell and they've got like Cheetos and a TV, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I would tromp my ass down to that jail right now to take that Cheeto bag. I'm like, no, you can eat a carrot.
Lauren's angry parenthood side is coming out right now.
Like if they say anything like, which apparently according to jail shows, that people who do come in as like child rapists and stuff, like even the other people in jail don't like them, you know, whatever. But I'm like, you're giving that person a TV. Yeah. I'm like, take that TV off the wall. They are. But then I start to think,
a good time,
right. But then I also start to think, they're so mentally ill. Like if you're willing, if you're doing something like that, you are not well.
Yes, there is something
wrong with you. Like that's not a normal behavior. So then I get into that and I'm like, is one of the solves like better mental health for people, like resources for people? Because I'm like, a lot of these people who commit crimes have to have mental health issues. Yeah. Sure, there's accidents and things that happen to people that don't. Don't get me wrong. But like, sometimes I'm like, this is a deeper problem.
Yeah. Oh, it is. And Paul and I say this all the time because sometimes we feel like social workers more than lawyers because there's a lot of times an undercurrent of some mental health issue, a lack of education.
Right.
I think is a lot of it, is having no guidance and no education. And there's just a hole in society. We don't have any answer for that.
I was just going to say, like, is there anything like within the jail system for like mental health? Like,
there's programs and it depends on the prison. And jail, no, because jail is like county when you're waiting for your trial.
Okay.
Not a lot of
We're
resources.
like, what's the difference between jail and prison? You're still in a cell in jail?
Both. You're in a cell in both, but jail is like at the county level. So if you get arrested in Franklin County, you're going to Franklin County Jail until you bond
I was hoping
out.
she'd say no because Elizabeth was like, I was in jail. I'm like, no.
she like doesn't believe that I was in jail. I was in Franklin County Jail. I
Were you
promise.
downtown or?
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
Or wait.
Or were you on the one that's like?
But when you listen to her talk about it, her memory's fuzzy. She said people.
My memory is so
I'm sure
fuzzy
it's
because
fuzzy
I
'cause you
kind
wanna
of
block that out.
blocked it
Yeah.
out. They
People
were.
are. Yeah, they do.
We're playing cards in jail. I'm like, what are we doing?
This is so
What do you want them
validating
to
to me
do?
right now.
No,
Stare
and
at
you
the
committed
wall.
maybe if you're.
And I mean it.
You're like trying to put your head down and block things out
Yeah.
and just get out.
I
And- but
texted
some
my
people
girlfriend.
are-
It was for an underage at Ohio State. It was like
happens.
we were made into an example 100%. But like they
100%.
took
I have a
us
friend
there.
that happened to too. And I was like, they
Really?
just felt like.
But I do. My memories are so fuzzy from it, and I wasn't
Understandable.
drunk. I just like really think that I.
It's traumatic.
Yeah.
Because you're also in there. So in jail, they don't separate you out. So you're in there with like.
Thank you. Thank you.
Should I arrange? You know what?
Memory on just jail. They're all on prisons, and I'm like, they
What if-
say jail.
I wonder if we could like have you come.
Do a
Just, like,
field
come-
trip.
Yeah, let's do a field trip.
I want to do a field trip so bad.
Wait, I would actually love to do that because
love it.
it would like jog my memory a little bit.
And
Yeah.
I just, if you find a field trip opportunity, please tell me. And also, I'm dead serious about sitting in on some cases. I'm about to camp out outside the.
I love
I
this.
am validated that you said that though.
Yeah, it's
I
scary
am feeling-
because
I'm gonna say, all right, you were right. I'm sorry because I was kind of gaslighting you about that. I was like,
where
absolutely.
did you think she
not.
was? Just like cafeteria or something?
I just thought that like she was in holding, like not jail. I was like, you're probably just like in a holding area, and she's like, no, it's called jail. I'm like,
Yeah,
why would you be playing cards and just with everybody else who's convicted? What you were next to a murderer?
So no one there's depends. But
offenders?
they don't
could
in
be.
jail. Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
really like.
So how do they stop that?
So in prison, you get separated out by conviction, kind of, and like your level. They'll do an assessment when you. So after you get convicted, you go to Orient, and it's like the reception center, and they will kind of do an assessment and see what prison you need to go to based on like the offense level, who you are as a person, what you've done.
area, like what actual jail building, not like floor.
Yeah. Well,
Or
jail
both?
building.
'Kay.
And then because there's higher risk prisons and there's lower risk prisons, higher security prisons.
Where are the closest prisons to here?
Why am I having a blank? There's
I know, same, and I'm like,
Postpartum brain.
postpartum brain. I'm like thinking of Chillicothe, Ross.
But okay,
There's-
and I guess that question, I guess, is kind of impertinent because you were saying like they decide what jail. Do they try to keep you close to home, or they don't really give a shit and they're like, you're going to Kentucky?
That's a good question. Yeah, no. So if you're staying in the state, if you're convicted of like a state crime, but otherwise it's a federal thing and you could be shipped off.
So if it's a federal crime,
You're
it's anywhere's fair game. You could be in Missouri for all they care.
Well, they have different federal prisons. So if you are in federal court, say like in the Southern District of Ohio, you're probably going to a federal prison somewhere in that vicinity.
And like, where are the Martha Stewart staying and stuff? You know,
Yeah,
because
a
they're
nice
probably
one.
staying in a real nice
Like
prison.
different. It's a
They're
little
at
different.
a Ritz Carlton. prison.
Federal prison's a little bit better than state prison.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
More funding, or just like the crimes, or what do you mean?
Well, crimes are. It depends, but they're a little bit.
So, like,
nicer, I would
okay,
say. It's hard to say something's nice.
So
but
somebody
it's a
for
little
like
bit
tax
nicer.
evasion is not staying with a local murder because one would be federal and one would be
Potentially. So if you tax evasion, yeah, if you're going to federal prison, you're not going to be with a state offender, but you could be with like a murderer that cross state line,
so like a mass murderer who cross state lines is
That
then
they-
moves to federal.
potentially they can
Okay.
be tried in state court. It depends on what they do, but they could be tried in state court. Like say they murdered people in Ohio, then went to Indiana or in other states. They could be tried in every state for that. just depends.
So jail is basically like a holding like step. Like you go to jail
How long are you staying there for?
Depends on.
Because like, what if your trial's not for months? Are you playing cards for months in there, or you're allowed to go home and then come back, or what's going on?
Depends on the crime.
Okay.
The alleged offense, and then it also depends on your ability to bond out. So
That's what I was gonna say. Like, are some people like arrested and they're like, you don't have the opportunity for bond, or everybody gets an opportunity for bond?
not everyone gets an opportunity for bond.
Okay.
I've had some clients held without bond.
Okay.
But most people get a bond. It's just
depending on the crime type thing.
Yeah, and it just depends on. So a lot of my murders have bonds in the millions.
Yeah, and it's like, okay,
they're not,
sure, make
they're
your bond.
sitting
A lot of my murders.
A lot of my murders.
A lot of my murders are in the
Sounds
millions,
bad,
and
but
like they
that's kind of
probably, if you're
our-
murdering someone, I don't know if you're going to be affording that $1 million bond a couple times.
Yeah, no, a lot of them are sitting for, especially in Franklin, they're sitting for 1 year to 2 years before they have a trial.
Damn.
Do a lot of your murders?
That sounds bad, but like
front.
for some
No,
reason, that's
100%.
like our area that we keep.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
seems to be our thing.
because it feels like maybe it could be potentially unsafe to the public. Is that why people often set that really high? Because they're like, there's the risk of releasing them and another crime being committed while they're while
and
we're
I feel
trying
like
to
there's
figure
like this misconception out there. I don't know. I hear it every election season that people are just running around and not getting bonds and like, but no, most of my, if not all of my violent crimes or alleged crimes, they're not getting out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's in the millions. You're supposed to have a reasonable bond, so it's supposed to be based on like what you can reasonably post.
the bond.
The judge.
So they probably have like somewhat of a system of like,
It's
hey,
a
this
system.
general crime gets usually this much. Okay, so it's not just
We
like
kinda
I'm
know
in a
what to
bad mood
expect.
today and you're getting $2 million.
Sometimes they are in a bad mood, and
Okay. And you're
they
like,
see
whoa,
a lot
where
of
did that come
bad
from?
stuff. So yeah, sometimes we get hit with.
Can you appeal that as the?
You can ask for bond modifications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Yeah, because that
you
would be
can
my worry.
sit.
Like, what if she's just in a bad mood today and
I've had judges where I'm
you're
scared
like,
of that.
what's up your underwear today? Because I wasn't expecting that to come, and now here we are. Now
It
you're
depends
making
on
my
the
job harder.
county. I feel like there's a specific county that I'm thinking of that I won't say its name, but I just knew going in, I was like, I'm about to get hammered.
Like they're just going to be so hard on this.
Yeah, and it was lower level felony, so I was pretty frustrated by that. But it depends on.
Okay. How did you decide between going into defense versus prosecution?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. We could probably talk for a long time on this one, but I'll try to make it short.
I was waiting to ask it because I was like, I feel like I could go deep, but I feel like some of the other questions I ask relate to that ish. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, when they get into criminal law in general, they go one of two routes. They either in law school or shortly after they work for the prosecutor's office or they work for the public defender's office. I did neither of those. Okay. So makes it a little bit harder, I think, to break into
the prosecutor's office would be like if you wanted to go into prosecution, meaning you were on the state side.
Yep.
You're defending the state.
Yep.
And the defense is defending the public.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah. The accused. Yeah.
Got it.
So I don't know. I guess I don't like authority. I don't know. I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't go work for the prosecution or prosecutor's office. I think it would have been a good opportunity for me to do so, and I did have opportunities to do it. I never said yes because I didn't like the idea of just being told I had to try a case or I had to take a case and basically have no discretion at like, well, I don't think that this is fair or right or just, and I want to like.
Prosecutors have to take the case, like
They
they're
have
assigned
to.
cases, and
Yes.
it's not like, hey, I don't
But
want to do that one because I don't agree.
They do have some discretion. They can decline to, indict someone. They can decline to pursue charges, but it's yes and no because it's a political office and you don't. And
there's politics involved.
there's politics involved. Yeah, and I don't. I'm not
Okay, I
that
wouldn't.
girl, so.
I always thought that maybe I would like prosecution better because I'd be like, nope, you broke the law.
Yeah.
But
I just don't
I
always
don't
think
like
it's
the
that black and
politics
white.
of stuff where that would really rub me. Where I'd be like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
I like being my own boss. I like being able to
That makes sense. I actually
make my own decisions. And
never thought about it like that. Like I just always thought that I would say like prosecution because I'm like, no, you're a murderer. But I'm like, you're right. Like
It's not black and white. Yeah.
a lot of my cases have not. So I've been doing this since 2018, 2019. criminal specifically.
Yeah.
And I think I've had 2 homicides in that time where it was black and white.
Yeah.
Everything else has been
A little hairy.
a little hairy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So-
crazy. That actually helps because I was going to say, how many cases do you feel like are pretty cut and dry, and you're like, I mean, you did it or you didn't, and it's pretty clear.
Less than you would think.
Yeah.
Do you think some of them are hairy because the person who is convicted of such crime is good at maybe convincing and lying, and you yourself are confused as a lawyer, like, well, oh my God, did
So-
they do it or not?
Yeah.
Or the state doesn't have enough evidence,
It's
and
the
you're like,
evidence.
it's more so you don't have enough reasonable doubt and evidence to pile on him.
Is that? Yeah.
Okay,
So it's
okay.
not like we kind of talked about earlier. People always ask how do you sleep at night?
Mhm.
I know. Well, and we'll get there. I'll save it a little bit, but it's not. It's my job to make sure the state's doing, and I will say this until it's like annoying or
Yeah.
I'll beat a dead horse. My job to make sure the prosecution has proven each element beyond a reasonable doubt, and that means they have to do their job.
Yeah.
They can't just rubber stamp things or call things home.
I
So
want to talk a lot about that when we talk about the Karen Reed trial. Did you
Yeah.
follow that at all?
not as much as I wanted to, but I know
Yeah,
enough to
yeah.
be dangerous. And
Yeah.
that case I really like because I think it was eye opening for people.
Yes, and I think that, and we'll come back to that, but that made me like kind of understand what you were saying and like, are they doing their job? Because that was like, in my opinion, from what I saw, and that's all I really know. But like, I'm like, they were covering stuff up from my
100%.
understanding, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you're not doing your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if she did kill him, I'm like, you didn't do your job, and
didn't
you're
do your
covering
job.
up.
Right.
How can we? Yeah.
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 So if you don't do your job, you shouldn't get the conviction. Even if that person, and if that means letting someone that did the crime off, then so be it. You need to get better at your job.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You know?
And now that, like, once somebody has the conviction, whether it be guilty or not guilty, they can't be retried for the same exact crime, right?
Yeah. So unless it's a mistrial, if you get a guilty or not guilty, they're not going to be retried because
Okay.
double jeopardy.
So
will
that
attach.
leads me to one of my questions. This is a two-part question, I guess. How often do you really get a hung jury? And when you do have a hung jury, when you go to try the person the next time, does it have to be the exact same like charges, or you can change up the second trial completely?
A second trial can be a little bit different. It depends. You can't change. Depends on if the charges under. So you can't. There's speedy trial time, obviously. So you can't necessarily change things up entirely. You're usually trying about the same case, but there will be. I think our last mistrial or hung jury was 2 years ago now.
Oh, that's crazy. I'm surprised it's not more often than that.
Sometimes, I mean, no, I think it was 2 years.
Okay.
They usually come to a decision.
How long do you think is like average time that it takes on an average case? Obviously not like a high-profile case that's like on your average, maybe like murder case.
Day or two, I would say.
Okay.
If we keep them out longer, I think I would say a day or two
Yeah.
for deliberations, and I'm talking like full days.
Yeah. I'm
Because
talking
a lot
I
of
want to be sequestered.
yeah,
I'm not joking. I'm just dying to be in there and chit-chat about it.
you confuse me because I was like I would love Lauren on a jury, but then you're so eager. We always are like we don't want the eager ones. I don't know.
I'm going to be honest. If I went in, I would not show my eagerness because I feel like
I know, 'cause
that's
you
a
wanna be
weakness.
picked.
I want to be picked. I felt like before when I was
Noted.
teaching, I was like, I would totally. I'm just admitting that. And don't tell your lawyer friends. But when I was teaching, I thought I wasn't being called because I was like, I'm a teacher. And like, they probably
I like
look at
teachers.
certain fields. And I bet some people do and some people don't. Like, I think that it's probably case by case because I'm like, if it's a child involved, like, the one side probably does not want a teacher because they know that the teacher's
wouldn't
going to be
want
like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We're not letting this
Yeah.
slide.
But if it's a younger kid being tried,
Right.
I want you.
Right. Because then you're going to have the empathy for the child. So I think that it just depended. Then we moved to Union County and I told Hunter, I'm like, what are these farmers doing over here? I need to move back to Franklin County.
Franklin County.
So, as a lawyer, do you get any say in who is on the jury?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because my first ever jury was in Franklin County,
Mm-hmm.
first ever, and I actually had a kid from Watterson
Oh my god.
on the jury. I was like, of all the thousands of people could have been called,
So can you say
it was
though,
someone
like,
from our
I
high
have a
school class.
connection? Can you take them off the jury?
Yeah. So they at first the judge will run through who the parties are to the case and the lawyers, And they'll be like, does any name look familiar? And he had to raise his hand and be like, well, I went to high school with her.
Interesting.
And I was like, yeah.
So wait,
I would have
dial
kept
back
him
though
probably.
before that though. Is the jury picked at random? Like they're just
Yes.
randomly sending out letters?
Yeah, they
and
say
then
it's
they
off
pick
of
from
voter
that?
like registration. So it's
And
supposed
I'm
to be
registering
random.
and I'm voting.
I don't know, man.
Can
I know, but I
can
know
you
people that
offer
have
up
been
to be
called
on jury?
No, I don't think so.
I
I don't think so. But I feel like it's a matter of time. You're
Okay,
in
back
Union
to the
County?
process, Lauren.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're in Union County, right? Interesting.
Which I'm like, it's a smaller pool. Why aren't
I
they
know
calling
that's
me?
interesting.
I
Because then I know
know.
people in Franklin that have been called like 3 times.
My dad's been called like 3 times. He's got to read the thing, and I'm like, I'm so
so
jealous.
there's a
He said he offered up to be it. I'm like, oh, I wonder where I
Oh.
get it from. He's like, yeah, I offered to
Yeah.
read it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
so he's the foreman. That's
he was
great.
the foreman, yeah, and he came home and told us exactly how he did it and held his paper up, and we're like,
That's
you're way too
amazing.
into this. But
I love that.
anyway,
They say it's random, but I don't know because
don't
when
think
you
it is.
see it, yeah.
I don't think it is, but that's beyond the point.
So you get to, or like either how you said a teacher, like if you feel like something about a juror could be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like could compromise things. You're allowed to like
So-
say that.
Yep.
So many.
Yes,
Or like
so
you
we
can
have-
like the whole jury.
There's preemptory challenges where we can we get 4 of them
Okay.
where we just don't really think that person is going to be
Is a good
helpful to our case or
fit.
isn't good
Yeah.
for our case. And then there's 4 cause challenges, which are unlimited. It's someone that has like a bias or something that's
Okay.
clear that they can't sit there and be unbiased. In
Okay.
their
Does the
deliberation.
prosecution also get 4?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you each get 4 that you can say we don't want them because of X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
And then you have unlimited to say,
For
I don't think that
cause,
they could
Yeah. And
do the job
sometimes-
because they answered this question that
Yeah.
way.
And a lot of times the prosecution or the defense will like agree on the 4 cause.
Okay.
But sometimes we do have to argue it, and the judge will have to decide.
Oh, it's
yeah,
4 total.
it's 4 total for preemptory, and then the causes are
So you have to
unlimited.
share those 4 and agree on with the prosecution.
No, so 4 each. Sorry,
Got it. Okay,
4
that's what I was just-
total for
Okay.
preemptory for defense, and then 4 for the prosecution.
What would you say like the main reason you are like, they're not going to work?
It depends on the case.
Mhm.
A lot of times they've had like, so for a sexual assault or rape case, they've been a victim themselves, or they know
That's
someone that's been a
fair.
victim.
Mhm.
Sometimes that's just like too close.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or they have a family member that was convicted of murder or something.
Got it.
That's stuff I'm also always looking out for people that have a lot of law enforcement ties because and this is like, I have a lot of respect for law enforcement.
Yes.
But I also know that there's just some people out there that think that if law enforcement's involved, then they've done no wrong. Then there
Right.
must be something there.
Right.
So I don't necessarily want someone that is related to
Yeah.
a police officer.
Yeah.
Because then I'm asking them to like,
Right. That's
Kinda
like
go against
that's
a family
bias.
member or-
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
That's actually really true because you're right. You're like, what if your dad or your brother or
Yeah.
your husband's a police officer and this is a case where
Yeah.
like,
It
yeah,
involves an
okay, that's
officer.
actually fair.
and
I'd
it's
be
not wrong. It's just like our human nature. to go
Totally.
in. So-
Totally. Yeah.
okay, that's interesting. And I'm none of those things and I'm still not being called.
How do you get that information though? Like, how would you know if the relative, like, do you do that research on your own or does like is that delivered to
Yeah.
you or?
They do a questionnaire.
Okay.
They're not very good. I mean, they ask like basic questions.
Right.
So
Right.
in Franklin County, we'll get the questionnaire the morning of, and we're kind of just like going
Okay.
through
In
it.
advance though, it's like morning of like they're there.
Yeah, a lot of times it's in advance, but sometimes in Franklin it's
Right
because
then
it's
and
just
there.
big, big county. So we get it morning of, and we're scrolling through.
Yeah. Okay.
It tells us generals and not very much information, but enough
Okay.
where I can like kind of
Maybe weed out some people.
weed out some people, and then the rest of it is just done through questioning
Okay.
in the room. And we have to. Paul's really good at this.
Yeah.
You have to quickly just ascertain who this person is.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to have a good like gut read on people.
Yes.
So that actually kind of leads me to one of the questions I was going to ask when you just said Paul's really good at this, like asking the jury questions. Do you feel like I'm trying to think how to word this, some cases maybe are won or lost due to how,
Good the lawyer is.
in a sense, yeah, good the lawyers in the sense of like storytelling and the theatrics of it, because I think that makes a difference. If your lawyer's a dud and standing there like they did this,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not believing you.
Yeah. I do think that plays into it. I think that ultimately juries do really well at like looking at the evidence that was presented to them and then deciding based off that and like putting personalities or theatrics aside.
Yeah.
Because we've had just being on defense is hard. I feel like it's hard to get a win when you're on the defense side. There's been so many people that we can go back and talk to the jury afterwards, and I like to do that because I like to figure out what we did wrong or like what they didn't like. And a lot of times and maybe it's just because they feel bad for us, but I truly believe Paul is amazing in the courtroom and he's engaging and people like to listen to him.
I
he's
feel
phenomenal.
like I would
We
be
still
drawn
lose,
to
though.
someone like that.
Yeah, we're still losing.
Okay, so that's,
But they will say like you were so engaging and you can tell the jury, you can tell when they're like listening to somebody.
Totally.
So they're always engaged with Paul. They're always like listening to him, but we'll still lose. Sometimes the facts just aren't on our side.
So being on the defense, you feel like maybe you guys catch more losses than wins.
Yeah.
Which I guess
100%. I think that's just
the nature
the
of the
nature
beast.
of the beast. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. This is another like trial related question, but how does a judge decide like what evidence is going to be allowed in?
Yeah.
And I only ask that because again, in like some recent trials I've watched, I'll have documentaries or whatever, and the lawyer afterwards will be like, that wasn't allowed to be brought into evidence. However, and I'm like, why? That feels very pertinent.
Yeah. It depends on how you obtained it, it's hard. It's a hard hypothetical because we have evidence rules.
Okay.
And so things have to be obtained a certain way or they have to come from a certain source. So you can't go into court and be like, well, Elizabeth told me this, this, and this. I need to hear from Elizabeth. Unless, and then there's always exceptions to certain things. So unless it was said at a certain time or there's just we have a lot of rules we have to go by, and it's done to make sure that the evidence is like pure and that you're getting the best source of stuff.
So it's not like a judge could just be like, we're omitting that.
No, they
has to be
they have to go
reason.
by the rules.
Okay.
Sometimes they get the rules right, and sometimes everyone has their own interpretation of things too.
Okay, this one is not trial related, but I just remembered that Savannah really wanted me to ask this question because she's like, I honestly bet it happens all the time. And she was wording it like, not maybe like fallen in love with you or like, but have like caught feelings to the point where you're like, or like just got too personal where you're like, wait, you're my client. Like, you can't ask me that or you can't, you know.
Like, not a lot.
Okay, because she was like, I wonder if some people like, you're together all the time about this case. Like, she's like, that would be so weird as a lawyer to have somebody like,
we can't. We haven't had to do that.
Okay.
We have had clients that, a handful of clients that they've been bigger cases and they've drawn out for a long time. They came close to the client.
Sure. Which naturally when you're with somebody all the time.
One of ours that was another lawyer. So, he kind of knew, what the game is like and how.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I've never had to have a client. I've never had to draw a line with a client.
Okay.
We're also pretty like.
That makes sense though. Yeah. She was very curious about that.
Sorry to disappoint. I just have never had a client fall in love with me, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I've had weird comments in jail.
Oh, I'm sure. I can't
something
even
we still
imagine
love
the things
Tell
people
us
say.
a couple.
Comments on my feet, like weird things. Not from my clients, just from like other people
Catcalling
walking
from
by.
outside.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I want to go in there so bad.
But from clients, no, they've been cool.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Well, they're probably like, my life's on the line. I shouldn't be chirping at her.
I feel like they have like mad respect for you, if anything, and most of them probably know
On their best behavior.
Yeah.
How many of the people that come to you do admit guilt from the start? They're like, I did it, but I need you to defend me.
A lot of the times it's like if they said I did it, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't like like they don't have the full.
It's not like, this is 100% correct.
Or there was some self-defense aspect.
Got it.
A lot of times when they say they did it, it was like, well, it was self-defense. Or
I did it because.
I did it because there's something else there.
That's also the gray line, I feel like, with law, that sometimes people get convicted for a crime, and I'm like,
jury nullification where you're like,
kind of deserved it.
Yeah.
Like, I always feel like on a case, let's, for example, say a woman or man, whatever, is convicted of like, maybe it's murder, whatever, I don't know. And you find out that they were like a domestic violence, like they were going through domestic violence. I'm like, how much can you take before you're
Right.
like, the only way to end this is to end him? Like,
Yeah.
Literally the brothers, the Menendez.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
that's on my list on
Yeah.
here because I have a lot of questions about that. But that's like where sometimes I get torn up because I'm like, well, it was self-defense.
I need to watch it because I know you guys were talking about it. So I did.
I
read
couldn't
up
watch
on,
the whole thing though because I was
Yeah,
like,
it's hard.
but to the point being like, that's where it gets hairy because it's like, well, I guess like lawfully, like no one deserved that, but it's also like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know.
So not a lot are black and white. Like I
Okay.
did it.
okay,
The two that I've had that I think are black and white, they did not. I mean, we don't always ask, did you do this?
right,
We're,
okay.
A lot
So
of times
sometimes you
we're
don't
going,
want to know.
we're going off the evidence.
Okay.
You know, we kind of know going in what their stance is, and they're not going to pull off of that. And our job's to make sure that
Okay.
their rights are defended. So
I guess I didn't think about that. That like maybe sometimes it's better to not ask.
yeah, sometimes
Because-
we don't always have the answers. That's the jury's job.
Has there ever been somebody though that you're like, as the trial goes on, like you said, you know, sometimes they'll say something and you're like, why didn't you tell me that up front?
Yep.
Where by the end you're like, all right, he's probably gonna go to jail and might just kind of deserve a little bit
Oh
of that.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
We've
Because I
had-
was like, I feel like I could catch
two
myself.
stick
doing
out in my head.
that. Okay.
That yeah.
And okay. Now on the turn, have you ever caught yourself feeling so sympathetic for somebody who committed such a horrific crime that you're like, oh, I'm so conflicted. I'm feeling sympathy for somebody who may have done something so horrid.
I do. Yeah. A lot of times I do feel, a level of empathy or sympathy for my clients
Yeah.
because I do think I get to know them. A lot of times, if the evidence is pretty clear that they're gonna get thrown in jail or prison, because the evidence there for whatever reason,
Yeah.
I still get to know that person, and
Sure.
a lot of times it turns into mitigating. Like, well, how do we get you a sentence that
Okay.
is the right sentence? It's not overly harsh.
It's like
It's
we-
something that gets you help or something that gets you rehabilitation
So
without.
there's people that you're
sending
like,
you
I mean,
away
you're
forever.
going to jail or prison.
Yeah, you're
like that's
going to
going to be very
prison.
clear. We're not going to get this
Yeah.
completely thrown out.
Yeah.
There's no way.
But I learn about that person, and oftentimes they had a rough upbringing, and
yeah.
there's something there that's still a human in front of you, and there's something there that I don't
a
know.
really good
It makes
point.
you feel for them because a lot
Yeah.
of times they don't have the same resources that
Yeah.
we do. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because I could see that. But then,
It's wild because people are like, how could you sit across from someone that did that? And I think it's because we find the human in that person. And
yeah, I think I would feel both ways. Like there'd be
Yeah,
a
you
part of
would.
me
You'd be
that would
conflicted.
really struggle with being like, I understand you've had a really hard upbringing, and that for that piece, I feel
hard.
super sympathetic,
But
and I
there's
want to
also
find you help. But then
punishment.
there's also like, we have to have laws for a reason. Like you can't just run around killing people.
right.
You know, like I don't know.
Not the best. So
Yeah.
yeah, there are punishments for a reason.
Okay. Have you experienced a case that altered the way you think, whether it be for the better or for the worse, that has stuck with you?
That's a really good one. Yes. And I don't know why it stuck with me. Maybe because it was a younger kid,
Okay.
a really, really good kid.
Okay.
Got caught up doing some stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
His dad had a prison number. So his dad was in prison.
Mm-hmm.
His mom was trying her best to keep the kid from following in the same path.
Yeah.
But he had a shot. We pled him to something, and he had a shot at probation. We were in a tougher county where the judge didn't love probation.
Yeah.
He ended up doing prison, and it was early on in my career, and it like kind of shattered me because I thought once he got to prison, I was worried that's the cycle. Then we're starting the
Like,
cycle.
yeah.
There's no
Like, is this now
coming
gonna
out
be
of
the-
that.
Right.
I thought if we kept him on probation, that he might have a chance. Like this might have been a scare, and he had a chance to
Makes
turn around.
sense.
So that one stuck with me. I don't know why it stuck with me. It still sticks with me to this day. It
Mhm. Like
wasn't even-
something about it just is
something
like,
about it.
God, could he like?
I don't think there was any changing that judge's mind because I
Uh-huh.
know the judge. And
Yeah, they
I
were
just know
sticking with it.
Who they were.
Yeah.
Knew what we were getting. But I think to an extent it made me become a little less emotional about my clients
Okay.
because if I felt devastated,
Right.
I feel devastated a lot. But if I let it
Okay.
like wreck me to my core, I'm not going to be good at my job for my clients that are coming up.
Yeah, and I think that's the
So-
part that I would.
Compartmental is
Yeah, like how
compartmentalize
nurses
a
and
lot.
doctors have to do that. Like I always think I could never be like a doctor or surgeon or like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
it would be hard.
it would be so hard to
don't do
compartmentalize
it.
and be like, well, that's what happened. That was the decision
Yeah.
or that was like, whatever it
Yeah.
may be and move on. And I'm like, would I want to like look these people up later and be like, how are they doing? Like,
Sometimes I do. Sometimes
like
I
I
do.
would want to know. I
Yeah.
feel like I'd get so attached.
Yeah. But I do think that case taught me how to compartmentalize better.
Okay.
And how to just keep moving forward. So,
Yeah.
But I still
Okay,
do look
that's-
people up.
Yeah. I mean, I would want to know. You
Yeah.
were like part of their life and part of making a decision that's going to alter their
Yeah.
life where I'd want to know like,
Where
how
are
is
they
that
doing? How
gone?
you
Where are they
doing?
now?
Yeah, I do that.
Okay. That makes sense.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. You're the
I
best.
really enjoyed you
Thank you
guys.
guys for listening.
I know,
And,
me too.
we will talk to you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in.